Hello, warm greeting. Can you hear me? Are we there?
Yes, sir, I can hear you perfectly, sir. Good evening, sir.
It's cracking a little bit, but let me welcome to the program, if you can hear me, His Excellency Mr. Faruq Abbas, Esquire, SAN in
By the grace of
waiting,
God, sir.
in his lovely
Yes,
office.
sir.
That's almost looking like a governor's office. Oshu State awaits you, Faruq, and I will be there with you as
By
Baba Governor.
the grace of God, sir.
So all my contracts, begin to pack it and keep it to one side. Farouk,
No problem,
thank you
sir.
so much for being available.
You're welcome,
You
sir.
know, you actually need no introduction. From Ejigo
Someone is
local
here to
government
see
in Osun State, the managing partner of Abbas and Co., one of the leading in this country, with over 16 years experience in dispute resolution and Lagos State. He's also been into politics. He's ran for office once or twice, and he's a very well-known commentator on various media. He clocked 40 on the 10th of June 2025 and is happily married with 2 children. You are most welcome, Farouk, and thank you for joining us again. To set the context for today's program, I would like us to please sit back and watch a video that we are going to play to set some kind of context. I hope the back office is ready to play our video. Back office, are you ready? We can't see that video. Maybe when you are ready, you let us know. We're looking today at the state of the nation, politics, security, and the economy. Politics, security, and the economy. Farouk, let us start first with politics. And I know you probably belong to the APC now. And we can see what is going on in the whole place. At a time, we're afraid that we are becoming a one-party state. 33 or so out of 36 governors, or 32 out of 36 governors, all belong to the APC. Can you say that victory is guaranteed for the APC at the polls? That's number one. Number two, the APC, they've come up with some unique formula for choosing their representatives. In Ogun State and in Lagos State, we have people who have been returned unopposed, and I think that formula is being proposed for a few other places. What does this portend for our politics, and where do you think the votes are going to go in the 2027 elections? Let me just hear your points of view on the state of the nation in terms of politics. Thank you. You need to unmute yourself. You need to unmute. Please, back office, unmute Mr. Abbas. Try and unmute yourself again, Farouk.
All right, sir. Good evening, sir. Can you hear me now, sir?
We can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here again. So I'll start from the first question, which is with the number of governors in APC, is victory assured? Well, I wouldn't say victory is assured because the purpose of going is for everyone to show their scorecard, campaign to the people. Even though the president has done well in certain areas, there are still areas for improvement. I think we would have to work very hard for victory because research has shown that the number of governors you have doesn't guarantee that a governor can deliver a state. In 2023 elections, we saw so many governors lose elections, both for presidential and their own personal election. So if anyone relies on the fact that APC has 31 governors and that will guarantee victory, I think that person can be said to be an inexperienced person or politician. So be that as it may, I believe that victory is not assured, but with hard work, the APC can do very well, especially when the opposition is disunited. The only time an incumbent lost an election in Nigeria was when in 2015 when all the opposition figures came together to present President Muhammadu Buhari. But as it's looking now for 2027 election, it's very clear that we are going to have a three-horse race. And that alone portends that victory is almost certain for the APC if the opposition, if they are unable to come together to present a united force. But notwithstanding that, the APC has to work very hard because of the state of the economy to be able to win the election. But if we continue at the pace we are going, the APC will most likely win, not because of 31 number of governors, but because of the disunity in the opposing camp. So that's my answer to question one. Regarding question two, that's the question is that some people we're having consensus in Lagos and Ogun State. And what does that portend? Is that the question? What does that portend? Okay, I think the politics in Lagos is very dynamic and is very different because I was hoping that one of the aspirants wouldn't step down, the SMA person, all the other governorship aspirants step down. But just yesterday, I read that the SMA Gold man has stepped down. So as it stands in Lagos State now, it's a clear consensus because all the aspirants who purchased forms stepped down. And the Electoral Act allows for that. The Electoral Act says that before you can have a consensus, all the aspirants who have been cleared must voluntarily support the consensus candidate. And as far as Lagos State is concerned for the governorship, it has been done in compliance with the Electoral Act. And to that extent, we can say if other states can emulate Lagos State, that would be good for internal democracy. But unfortunately, Ogun State too was able to achieve the same feat. But unfortunately, aside from Lagos and Ogun State, I'm not sure I'm aware of any other state where there has been a unanimity of endorsement in terms of the governorship election. So what it means is that perhaps because Lagos is very organized and Ogun State is also very close to Lagos State, so they are also very organized, they were able to achieve it. In a state like Oyo State, I'm not sure they are going to be able to achieve it. In a state like Kwara State, in a state like Osun State, where we did our primaries some months ago, that wasn't achieved. So it's going to be very difficult. The fact that Lagos was able to achieve consensus and Ogun State was able to achieve consensus, I don't think that shows that other states will be able to achieve consensus. And if you also look at the senatorial primaries that was done across all the states 2 days ago and the House of Rep primaries, you will see that it's like a bedlam. A lot of complaints, some people saying they are the winners, some people saying there was no election and all that. So I'm beginning to think that the consensus arrangement that was brought in, or I don't think it can go very far in our political climate. I think it's only in an organized system like in Lagos State, Ogun State, and a few other states where the leadership is very clear. That's where consensus arrangements can work. Because for consensus to thrive, everybody must agree that the candidate you have presented is the best candidate. In a state like Ogun State, Yaya has been on ground for a while. He's a political veteran. He has the resources. He has the visibility. He has the outlook. So it was almost clear that he was going to get the ticket, even if they go through a free and fair primaries. Likewise, in Lagos State, in terms of experience, in terms of staying power, in terms of pedigree, Dr. Amzat is like the best out of the pack. He has the pedigree, he has the experience, he has the brilliance, he has the agility, he has the age on his side. No controversy whatsoever. I've never read any negative report, any scandal about him. So it's not unusual that he also was able to achieve consensus. But in a state like Oyo State, it's almost impossible. They are abusing each other, they are cursing each other, even though they are in the same party. So I believe that the consensus will not go very far in our political climate. because politicians tend to use consensus to cheat candidates. If they were going to bring in a candidate who wasn't as experienced as Amzat and say is a consensus candidate, there will have been crisis in Lagos State. So I think consensus only thrives when you bring the best candidates and everybody agrees and say, this man is the best. Let's give it to him. That's when consensus can thrive. But if you have a situation whereby somebody is trying to bring their godson or someone that swear to oath of declaration for them or oath of loyalty and you want to impose him on much more credible and competent candidates, then consensus will never work in that arrangement. So I don't see consensus lasting for very long. Eventually, we might have to amend our electoral act again to bring back indirect primaries. So we focused on direct or indirect primaries, but the days of consensus are fast gone as far as I'm concerned. That's my response, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Let me ask you one or two other questions, and I heard the video is now ready. But before we go back to the video, let me ask you one or two other questions. What's your evaluation? Well, I guess maybe I shouldn't even ask you since you are now an APC member. But nonetheless, let me have your evaluation of how you think the government has done so far in terms of the nation building and the political atmosphere. And you said it's a three-horse race. Who are the three horses? Because Governor Makinde also has declared for a faction of the PDP and APM. So, is he part of the three horses, or you don't really think that declaration is worth anything?
To be honest, if you ask me my favorite governor, I have two favorite governors in Nigeria, and it's Governor Makinde and Governor Mba of Enugu State. Those are my two favorite governors. Governor Makinde is a performer. He's done very well for himself. But, I believe that his declaration came a bit too late. If he had declared earlier enough and has a good platform, I feel that I can call it a four-man horse race. But because it's coming at this very tail end, Oyo State is very hot now. The APC is very strong in Oyo State. So he's going to struggle to retain Oyo State, if he at all is going to retain Oyo State. So I think he has a lot going for him, so that I see him as a president of the future. But in this particular race, I don't see him pulling much weight because he's going to be going against veterans: Asiwaju Tinubu, Peter Obi, Kwankwaso, and Atiku. If Kwankwaso becomes the running mate to Peter Obi, these are guys who have labored in the past. So they've had the opportunity to campaign nationally. They've built a structure nationally. Governor Seyi Makinde is well loved across Nigeria, yes, but he has not built a national structure. He's a dawn in Oyo State. And because of the distraction because APC is hell-bent on getting Oyo State. And if you see the caliber of people running for governor under APC, you will see that that's the state that the government APC really wants, because it's also in the Southwest. And the goal for the president will be that let him clear the entire Southwest in terms of the governorship ahead of his own election. Because historically, we've always seen that every president usually gets a clean sweep in their zone. But the fight Seyi Makinde is putting forward in Oyo State, I think that's enough to keep him busy. He won't even have the time to campaign nationally. But if the state were to be locked down for him, I think he will be a dangerous candidate to have on the ballot. So I see Oyo State distracting him significantly. But nevertheless, he's a fantastic person. If I was not supporting Asiwaju Tinubu, I would have voted for him regardless of whether or not he will have won the election, because I really like the quality of the job he's doing there in Oyo State, and I like the way he's running the state. So that's the way I see that. I see it as a three-horse race. Then regarding my assessment of the president, even though I'm a member of the party, I pride myself as someone who is usually objective most of the time. The president has done very well in certain areas, and he hasn't done quite well. There are areas for improvement in other areas. In terms of managing the fiscal management of the country, I think he has done very well in bringing the finance minister we have, the tax reforms, how he's trying to decentralize operations. I think he has done very well in that. But it's a long term. We can't see the impact now. The subsidy, the grit of removing subsidy, I think is also a very good achievement for him. The NEL Fund loan for young people, I think he's also doing very well. And I think he's trying to get more across to the youths. He has a Minister for Interior who is a youth. And just today, he announced the appointment of Professor Segun Aina as the registrar of JAMB. That's a very fundamental, that's a very is a very important and strategic appointment, because Professor Segun Aina is one of the youngest professors in Nigeria. He's just 39 years old, and he has been appointed as registrar of JAMB. So this shows that the president is trying to communicate directly with the youthful population. And if you give the youth voice, it shows that you know what you are doing. Where are the areas for improvement? Of course, in security, they can do better. In terms of the optics of the spending of government, they can also do better in that regard. Even the politics aspects, I think the amendments, because my belief now is that the amendment of the Electoral Act to say you want to limit it to just consensus and direct primaries, I think that's a disservice. I'm not sure we have made any progress. I know what they were trying to achieve was to remove indirect primaries because politicians usually bought votes and pay for delegates. But I think that we still had a semblance of democracy when we had indirect primaries. But with what we had recently, we can't really say we've gone far in terms of the politics of the system. So I wouldn't really say we've done very well in that regard. And another thing I think he has done well is that he can articulate his points. You can say that this is a president who is fully in charge. When he went for the CEO forum in Africa recently, in Kenya or so last week, he was articulating his ideas. He has his plan. He wants to go into state police. So this is someone that nobody is running him. He's the one running the country by himself. He's the one running the country with his ideas, and he knows what he wants to achieve. So to that extent, and Nigeria is not a country whereby somebody will just come in and within 3 years you are going to achieve success. No, it's going to take a lot because there has been a lot of mismanagement, a lot of problems in the past. So it will take some time. But I think he's doing very well. If we can get this political aspect right, get the security aspect right, then in terms of assessment of the country, I read a report recently that said that the rating agency, they've scaled Nigeria up to B or something. The economy is getting better in terms of the numbers, but direct benefit on the lives of the citizens, we are not getting that yet. But in terms of the rating, the stock exchange, the GDP numbers, all those numbers that you need to know that, okay, this country is worth investing in, we can see that we are gradually coming up now. And now we are now gradually becoming a more productive economy, because before we were all living a fake life because everything was being subsidized for us. But now, sometime, yes, about 2 days ago, I went to court. I finished around 2 p.m. And I was on the mainland. Instead of driving all the way to Ikoyi to my office, I just said, you know what? No, I don't think it makes sense. Let me go home and work. So now I monitor my usage of fuel. We don't spend money anyhow anymore. So that's that sense of, okay, productivity, the economy is coming up. But the major problem that he needs to get right in the economy is that we can't be seeing all these good numbers and it's not impacting on the lives of the citizens directly. I think those benefiting are very minimal. So we need to see how can we expand the coast to make sure that the benefit of these improvements in the system gets to the common man. Then businesses too, how do you make businesses thrive? When you can make businesses thrive and people make money and there's security in the system, I think we will do very well. But in terms of projects, the Coastal Road is a fantastic project. In my state now, they just approved the road from Malaysia all the way down to Ondo, so you can see activities going on. So I feel that if the government is not distracted by politics, it will achieve more. And I'm willing to place my bet on him that I think we're on the right track. Then again, of course, the way he's appointing people now, his ministers, I feel that when he comes back again, or if he comes back again, he needs to appoint more technocrats like the Minister of Finance that he has. There are some people on the cabinet who are not pulling their weight and they need to be sacked ASAP. So I think if he can just bolster his team a little bit with more competent people and people who are really willing to serve and not people who just want to game the system or play politics, I think we'll do very well. So as far as I'm concerned, I might not rate him an A, but I'll give him like a 59%, 61%. If I were to rate the president, I'll rate him between 59% and 61%. That would be my rating for him.
Okay, I'll come back to an aspect of that question later as to what he should do. So just hold your thoughts on that, this and that. We're going to go into the video shortly, but one more question before the video plays. Okay, so you can just pause that video. Why is it that the opposition are so fractionalized? We're almost back to the state of affairs in 2023. Obi has run away to some party. Atiku is insisting on being presidential candidate of ADC or whatever it is. Why is the opposition unable to unite and come together to face a common goal? What do you think?
Yes, I think number one is inexperience. Number two is selfishness. Like they are not being altruistic. Their goal to serve, they don't have an altruistic ambition. Because if three of you have an altruistic ambition to serve the country, it will be easy for three of you to sit down in a room and choose a candidate. Asiwaju Bola Tinubu has been nursing the ambition of being the president from 1991. and he didn't contest when he was not supposed to contest. He sacrificed for President Tinubu, President Buhari. He even sacrificed the vice presidential slot. He wanted to run for Senate at some point. He stepped down for Ganiu Solomon. So he's a man who saw the future. And when it was time for him to contest and the President Buhari was going to support somebody else, he gave a speech, the Emilokon speech. He was ready to hold the bull by the horns, face the bull by the horns, So it was strategic and it wasn't selfish. You can't really call him a selfish person because he has made so many men. He has sponsored so many candidates. He has invested in a lot of people. So you can call him something else. You can use some other adjective to say that he's not a good person. You can say whatever you want to say, but you can't say he's not a builder of men. He has invested in so many people and he's a real leader because you can, in every state of the federation, you can see people he has brought up. So when it was time for him to come up as president, they all rally around him. But if the opposition people, the opposition candidates now, they are not altruistic. They don't plan to serve Nigeria, because if they really plan to serve Nigeria, they can show themselves data. They can show themselves their strengths. You don't have to deceive yourself. And let's choose who is the best candidate. I will start with Vice President Atiku Abubakar. President Buhari served Nigeria for 8 years. Now is the time of this. Is the time of the South. It should be the big brother. You can't be running for office since 1991 and you're now insisting that it should be the big brother and say, you know what, I won't run. I'll be the mediator to choose who will be the aspirant or the candidate between the other aspirants, because he has the stature, he has the experience, and he has the age to choose. But having just left North for 8 years, even the Southeast, they've never become president before, and now you want to now come out again from the North. I think he just wants to fulfill his own personal ambition just to say that he's the president. And he has been vice president before. So if you have not been vice president before, it will have been a different case. You have been close to power at some point. So I feel that he should have been the one to step down and now mediate between the younger talks. And I don't blame Peter Obi for leaving ADC. A lot of Nigerians were abusing him and blaming him for leaving the ADC. I don't blame him. He wants to fight. In 2023, he came out. He believes that he can pull his weight. And given the short period of time that he used to command the number of votes that he commanded, he's the credible opposition figure. There is no doubt that out of the other people running for president. And that's why I respect Kwankwaso for stepping down for him, for agreeing, because Kwankwaso too is a bit pompous, can be a bit proud, and which I don't have anything against. But he saw the numbers, he saw the data. He was only able to win Kano State. Peter Obi was able to get a rainbow coalition from different states of the federation. And I couldn't even believe that Peter Obi will be this consistent. I thought after 2023 election, he will fizzle out just like that. But his staying power shows that he knows what he's doing. And that's the kind of energy you need for someone who wants to run for president. So I think that Vice President Atiku Abubakar should have read the body language of Nigerians. Unless the Northerners just want to vote for him alone, I don't see him winning an election, even if he's presented as the opposition candidate. If the three of them come together to present him forward, I don't see him winning, because I think his time is gone already. So it's unfortunate that they can't come together, and I believe they will learn their lesson when they lose again. And the next opposition will have, perhaps that will be a very good lesson to them, to work together and present one candidate, because that's the only way you can defeat the APC. That's the only way. Without that, it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible.
Thank you. Let's quickly go to this video. To be honest, your views on Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in fairness to him, since 1991, walking around with MKO Abiola and all those people running here and there, and then being really strategic. Even this Atiku Abubakar, he has supported him and stepped down for him before. I know that one for a fact. So, and you are right. Atiku shouldn't be running right now, I don't think. It's time for the South to at least have their 8 years. And if he's old enough, the next cycle for the North, and if he did this strategy of stepping down for the South, he will be almost uncontested at that time if age is still on his side. I think his fear is that he thinks age is not on his side, and therefore he really wants to make a broad stroke. But I think President Tinubu has been very, very strategic and very, very, like you said, made quite a few men here and there, and waited, as it were, his turn. But let's see. We're still in midstream. There are one or two areas I'm not quite satisfied with, but this is your show, not my show. So we'll take your comments. I'll just ask the questions. Let's go to the video very quickly. Thank you. Can you play the video, please?
I'm from Ibadan. I'm working at First Baptist Church Ogbomoso Yawota area. Yesterday, the people of the young people came to our school, and we are being kidnapped, both the teachers and the children. We are all here. We need help from the federal government and the state government, both the church, First Baptist Church Yawota, and the community. We need your help so that these people will release us. Please help us. Please help us. We need help from our president. We need help from our president. Tinubu, please help us. Our state government. Engineer Seyi Makinde, please. And both the Nigerian Christians, please help us. Please help us. We need your help.
That's very painful, very pathetic. If it's authentic, sometimes these things can also, you don't really know exactly what's going on. But that is a woman who has been kidnapped with some children. You can see she's even backing a baby, and she's crying for help. She's crying for help. What really is your opinion on the security situation? In Oyo State, I hear some people came, they were kidnapped and taken away. Bandits rushed into some villages here and there. The whole of the north, a lot of places ransacked. A lot of pastors are begging, screaming for help. The church in the south has not been very responsive, and so on and so forth. Why are we in this situation in Nigeria? Why should there be anything like banditry? Why should there be anything like insecurity? Why should there be anything like this major level of kidnapping? And why should there be this religious tension all over the place? And it was the late President Abacha that said that if a situation of insecurity lasts for longer than 1 week in any country, he says the government must be complicit. There must be some kind of complicity on behalf of the government, because the bandits can never have the kind of firepower that a whole government has. What are your thoughts?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. It's a depressing video. I always try to avoid these sort of videos. I avoided everything on social media because it usually makes me get into a very bad mood. Security is the most important aspect of what the government needs to do, because once there is no security, you can't enjoy your health, you can't enjoy whatever it is you think you have. And it's unfortunate that the insecurity in the country has become like an economy on its own. It's like a business, it's like a sector where some people are specialized in just to keep on making money. And I agree with the quote you presented from General Abacha, because there has to be some form of complicity, even if it's from the military or from the security law enforcement agencies, because there's no way this can continue to thrive. And I think, apart from blaming the government and blaming some people in the military who know about all these things, we also have to blame ourselves as citizens, because bandits can't come into a community and you won't know who they are. There must be some people in communities working with them, because if you come somewhere, before you come somewhere, at least you will have done your survey. You will pass through somewhere. Somebody will see you driving. They can easily call 1 or 2 people. But even we as citizens, I'm not really sure that we genuinely want the insecurity to stop in certain parts of the country where this is. Because if you look deeply into it, you will see that there is no way there will be no compromise either in the traditional system or even within the community, or maybe some people are collecting commission. Nigeria is a country. For this video, if you see this video now, for my brief analysis of the video, it is very clear that the purpose of the kidnappers is to get the government to give them money. Because she said, Governor Seyi Makinde, President, come and help me. The kidnapper will not record you to say, come and help me, because if the government comes to help you, it means they will kill the kidnappers. So kidnappers shouldn't be telling you to record video and saying, Governor Makinde, President, come and help me. So that help she's talking about is money. Because if the government really wants to come and help her, they will blow up that place and they'll kill those people. So I believe that it is an economy of extortion. And because some governors have also been giving them money, and they will say they didn't give kidnappers money, so it has become an industry that is now booming, that everybody now wants to go into it. So, and it also comes to poverty in the land, lack of opportunities. So what do I think government needs to do? I think this issue of us crying every month, every that they're killing people, let's amend our Firearms Act. Let's allow people to arm themselves. Let's allow Nigerians to arm them. If our government cannot arm us, government has withdrawn police officers from VIPs, from people. Let us arm ourselves. In every community, let's have license. Some people should have AK-47, some people should have pump action. Every government school have 2 or 3 people there that will have guns. So that if they come here, even if they attack the school, before they go to the next building, people who have guns there will attack them. But when people come and know that if they come here, they will not see any police officer, they won't see anybody that has guns, we are now easy chickens. We're like praise for them to come and kill us. So as a matter of urgency, and yes, I know the government is trying to decentralize the police by having state police. And sir, Pastor, another reason why this issue is very dangerous and very scary is that Governor Seyi Makinde is one of the few governors in the Southwest that has invested seriously in security and in Amotekun. He's passionate about security. He has invested heavily in security. So if this can happen in a state where he has invested in, it means those of us in Lagos State, we should be worried. And interestingly, that Ogbomoso, where they kidnap those people, is not far from my own hometown. Because if you are going to Ogbomoso, you pass through Ejigbo to get there. So even in my community in Osun State, Ejigbo, people are already panicking. The local government chairman had to issue a press statement 2 days ago that they've surveyed all the forest, they've surveyed everywhere, they've not seen any bandit or anybody, and Ejigbo local government is safe. But when I read it, I wasn't even convinced at all. So the truth is that we need to allow Nigerians to have access to weapons. Then communities should come together. Every school in your community, let 1 or 2 people be there. If it's their OPC members, if they are Amotekun, if they are private citizens, let them be armed. So if people try to come and kidnap you and they kill 1 person, automatically you have disincentivized that particular system. But now they know they can just go into one church and go and start shooting guns. There will be nobody to respond to them. So if we all have access to apply for our guns, and you say you must be a professional or put the yardstick there, let all of us go and apply. If you come to a church and 2 pastors, Pastor Enebele has pump action or AK-47, and he responds and all that, they will not come again next time. But if they know when they come somewhere, there's no gun, that's number 1. Number 2, our governors too also have to take investing in security very seriously. All this cry of president, Tinubu, president will not come from Abuja to come and sit down in your village. What are the governors doing in their own respective domains? Governor Seyi Makinde usually organizes security. They have security council meeting for all the local governments, but they can do more. Their security votes, they can empower people, they can get informants, they can get information from all these things that are happening. So I think even we as citizens too, we need to look deeply inwards, because we can't just be blaming government and be saying they've turned it into an industry. Some of us as citizens too, we are not doing the right thing. We are not reporting. We are not giving information. And some of us are collecting commissions from bandits. So we should go and trace the financial system. Who are those making money from bandits? Some people are going to nightclub because they are collecting money from bandits. They are collecting their own commission. Because bandits cannot just come and attack a community without having insider. It doesn't work that way. They usually have insiders. They have people giving them information. So this video this person is doing now, that Governor Seyi, can they come and help me? They want to collect money. That's what they're asking for. So the government needs to sit up and do more. But more importantly, Pastor, the time is right for us to start arming ourselves, because I travel home regularly. Some of our relatives travel home regularly. What will happen if they come to our houses to come and attack? How are we going to respond? We don't use mobile policemen. We don't have police officers carrying us, following us up and down. So the least the government can do for us, allow us to provide security the same way we are providing solar for ourselves and providing borehole for ourselves, so that we know that, okay, our security is in the hands of God and is in our own hands too. So I think that's what we should look out for. And the state police too should be allowed to take place very fast enough. But I sympathize with Governor Seyi Makinde, because I know that he has taken security very seriously. So it must have been a lapse somewhere in the system. And I hope that they can get these kidnappers and kill all of them. All the kidnappers they've been arresting all this while, what are they doing to them? What's happening to the prosecution? Let us see what is happening to them. Go and trace their call logs, their friends, who they are transferring money to. Arrest those ones too. But when you just take one kidnapper somewhere, kidnapper that has somebody that is transferring money to, and you leave those ones alone, they will go and get another kidnapper to come into the system. So if you arrest a kidnapper, do a forensic analysis of his call logs, look at the people he has been giving money to, his business partners, arrest all of them too, and charge them for conspiracy too. So that way, nobody will condone any kidnapper. If I know of any kidnapper, I can report to the police and say, this person I'm suspecting him, he might be a kidnapper. But if you just take one person and you just put him on channels and that's the end, and nobody hears anything again, nobody knows whether they are doing anything to them or they are not doing anything to them. So this security issue, because first of all, they went to Kwara State in February, they killed over 100 people in February in Kwara State. Now because Kwara is to Ogbomoso, now they've come to Ogbomoso. I hope they don't come to Ejigbo. Then they come to Ibadan. Then they now come to Lagos. I hope it doesn't get to that level. Because before we'll say it's happening in Maiduguri, it's happening in Zamfara. Oh, it's far from us. We in the Southwest, we will not say anything about it. But now it's already getting close to us. So we must fortify ourselves. If the government is not going to fortify us, we must fortify ourselves. But we must also tell our pastors to also talk on the pulpit. Our imams should also talk on the pulpit. Those of you who are supporting these terrorists, give information about them, because it's not more a joking matter. Some of us fly all those routes where they are kidnapping people regularly. So that's what I think. But more importantly, they should give us license to carry firearms, so that by the time we kill 2 or 3 kidnappers, the other ones that are in the system will not want to come close to us anymore. That's my own honest view, if you ask me, Pastor.
That's very good, and that's clear thinking. The only fear, though, of course, is that when everybody carries firearms, if there's some irresponsible drug addict people here and there, you may expose everybody to that kind of tension here and there, like they're having all these funny kind of shootings in America, crazy lunatics going into schools. Think about and to hold. Well, I think what doesn't seem to take it. I don't know how seriously are they taking it. And again, these people seem very, very strategic. They seem to really know. There seems to be some thinking behind it. Like you say, they are coming south bit by bit. They are testing Kwara now, Ogbomoso area, like you said. Very soon they'll be in Ibadan. Before we know it, they'll be in Ijebu. Next time we'll be looking up at them, they'll be on Marina Road or something like that. So it's a crisis situation, and there are undertones and suspicion that some people look away from it because somehow, either economically or politically, it seems beneficial to them. That's probably one thing I like you.
Pastor is frozen, right?
Okay, I thought it was from my end. Yes.
No, he's frozen
We're
generally.
having internet challenges.
Yeah, I can see that. Although we can hear you, though.
We're working on it.
Yeah, I know. Okay, just before Pastor comes back, Farouk, I find it curious, though, when you say Tinubu is doing well, and you have given him a lot of pass mark, almost 60%. But yet you say that, speaking about security, that security should be the topmost important thing that government should focus on. And you have gone on to enunciate a lot of ideas of what can possibly be done. Is it that this government don't have thinkers? They are not thinking? Because to be honest, if I am going to tell you the truth, I think they are just joking with security. And you have said it. They are not arresting people. They are not checking call logs. They are not doing anything. In America, I don't know whether you watch some of those forensic investigative things they do. You will almost know that when they catch somebody, that person is the actual perpetrator of that crime. So this government, God forbid, if you lose your son, it doesn't matter what the government does in this insecurity. You won't even give them 5%. And we have not lost one person. We have lost over 5,000 people since the beginning of this year. And somebody will stand up and say the government is doing well. How?
All right, sir. Pastor has asked that we play the next video.
Okay, go ahead and play.
And play that now. Yes, thank you.
You will answer that after that.
No problem, sir.
numbers from the Nigerian government's Open Treasury portal. In 2025, the Presidential Air Fleet, that is the aircraft that transport the president and senior official budget, nearly every naira released. Now, look at this other line, same portal, same fiscal year, same treasury. The Nigerian Army's budget for the purchase of security equipment, 20.56 billion naira, budgeted. Amount released, 1.46 billion. That is 7.11%. Same government, same year, same treasury. One got everything, the other got almost nothing. During this budget cycle, according to Beacon Security and Intelligence Limited, over 10,000 Nigerians were killed in security-related violence. Well, this happened, and what we found was quite interesting. In December 2024, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu presented the 2025 federal budget to the National Assembly. It announced the naira, the largest allocation in Nigerian history. That is more than 12% of the entire federal budget. When the president introduced the 2026 budget a year later, he said something that matters for what comes next. He said, quote,
"We will invest in security with clear accountability for outcomes, because security spending must deliver results to secure our country."
Now, here's how the money was supposed to flow. The Air Force 1.25 trillion, the Presidential Air Fleet, managed under the Office of the National Security Advisor, received its own allocation. On paper, this was the most funded. So, the government's own transparency platform, and we checked what was actually released. The 2025 budget performance data tells a very different story from the one in the Appropriation Act. Army security equipment budgeted 20.56 billion, released 1.46 billion, just over 7%. Defense equipment, that is the weapons, vehicles and hardware the army needs to fight, 336.76 billion budgeted, released 16.71 billion, under 5%. Now, Air Force aircraft maintenance, the budget for keeping the military's aircraft operational, 34.71 billion budgeted, 4.85 billion released, that is about 14%. But it gets worse. There are budget lines that received 0 naira, not reduced funding, 0. Construction of military barracks, 206.97 billion budgeted, 0 released. Transport fuel for the army, 0. Aircraft fuel for the Air Force, that is the jets that are supposed to be providing air support in Borno, 0. Although a broader fuel aggregate shows some partial release. Then we have welfare packages for soldiers. I hope this doesn't get me in trouble. They got 0. Recruitment, 0. So the army can't buy equipment. The Air Force can't fuel its aircraft. Nobody is building barracks. Nobody is being recruited, and nobody is even getting welfare packages. But then we checked another line on the same portal. The Presidential Air Fleet, 20.74 billion naira budgeted, 20.27 billion released, that is 97.76%. The same treasury that released 7% for the army security equipment released 97% for the aircraft that fly the president. The same system that gave the Air Force 0 naira for aircraft fuel found a way to fully fund the fleet used for official transport. Now, when these numbers became public, the president's special advisor on economic affairs, Tope Fasua, pushed back. He said the comparison of recurrent expenditure, maintenance, procurement, construction, that argument. Recurrent and
Well, I think we can hold that thought there. I think essentially what that video was saying was looking at what we've spent on security and how we seem to have, as it were, not properly allocated our resources. I don't know how much of the video you got, and if you have any comments on it. And this will be my last conversation, and I'll yield the floor to Pastor Sonny and Auntie Jumoke to take the next set of questions and answers. And those who have questions, you please raise up their hands and all that. And then you can also use that to tell us, although you've hinted on it, on how you think the economy has performed. You've said 55 to 61%, I think, is what you said. I don't know if you have any further thoughts on that, and then we'll hand over for the Q&A session. Thank you very much, Your Excellency Faruq Abbas Esquire.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, yes, I watched the video, and it was quite saddening. I was hoping that it was AI generated and it wasn't real, because I mean some of the facts that they were reeling out were quite jarring, But it would be surprising if that's the case, because if the way a man's priority is not by what he says, it's by his calendar. Some people say they do this, but if you look at where they go to, there is no alignment. So if we say that security means a lot to us as a government, then we must see it by the money. So we should see where the money is going to. And for security, it should be funded. We should even be talking about not giving zero allocation, if I heard it, in some areas, or for recruitment, for transportation, for all those things. We shouldn't be talking about that, because if we don't fund our security very well, then what is going to happen is that they won't zealously protect the country. They won't be passionate about their jobs. So it's something that is coming to me as a surprise. If what they said there was very correct, then it's not good enough. And in terms of scoring an administration, and that is why I look at this security differently in terms of my rating, is that there are different sectors, so you aggregate it. For security now, I know that the challenges we had in security is not something that President Bola Tinubu was the one that manufactured. He met it on ground. And just recently, we saw that there was an attempted coup on the president. So I'm sure that the president knows certain things he's supposed to do with the military, but perhaps he's been very careful, because I strongly believe that he should pay attention to security. And if what they've said in this video is correct, that they've not been funding security, then it means that we can say we have an idea of where the problem is coming from. And we should all speak up about it and tell the government that perhaps, yes, the funding of the presidential aircraft is very important, because our president must move, and he must move in an aircraft that is very good so that it doesn't crash and all that. But at the same time, we must prioritize security, because if we don't fund our security, then we're going to be in problem. So my take on that is, based on this information, they need to do better. The government certainly needs to do better. That's what I have to say on that, Pastor.
Okay. Pastor, are you still there?
Yeah. Has he gone off?
No, he said he's finished answering your question.
On security.
Okay, you go ahead then.
Okay. Thank you, Farouk. I think people that have questions should begin to raise up their hand electronically so that we can recognize them and let them ask their questions.
Pastor, please, before you go ahead, please let them know that I'm not an appointee of the federal government. I don't hold any political position. I'm not a spokesperson of the government. So they should be aware that I'm not a spokesperson of the. I believe in political participation, because as citizens we have our role to play. And if you are going to choose a side, you must belong somewhere. So I've decided to belong somewhere. But at the same time, I don't have access to any government documents, any government information. And I'm not speaking for I've not been authorized to speak for the government. So there's a limit to what I can say to defend the government, but I have my own personal belief to assess. I have a right to assess the performance of the government. You can agree, you can disagree. But so let's just have that as a background. So people don't just start assuming they're talking to President Tinubu or Boala when they start asking me questions now. All right, sir, thank you.
All right, thank you very much for making that clarification. We are just having a conversation on the Nigerian state, looking at security, economy, and there were three things. Was in nation building
Politics.
that we were looking at. Yeah, politics. So you have said Nigerians should speak up about the ills they see and find, and I absolutely agree with you. The only thing I will add to that is that we should speak up with our votes, since that's the only thing that government, that's the only power we really have, to hold government accountable. I want to ask you, people keep saying, and pardon me, just to get your view, you made allusion at the beginning that, everything was being subsidized for Nigerians and we're living a fake life. But now, with all that subsidy gone, we are facing the reality of our situation. Do you truly believe that we should not be subsidized given the level of poverty that operates in Nigeria? And I disaggregate it for you. They say there was corruption in the subsidy regime. Instead of dealing with the corruption and holding the people that were taking the money accountable, you now remove the entire subsidy, and fuel that we are buying at 200, 150 went almost to 900. Obviously, the whole nation was suffering. So when they say that's a very bold decision, do you agree with that assertion? I would have thought that bringing the thieves to account will be a bolder step to take. I don't know. I'm just asking for your view, because that's the genesis of all the crises we have in Nigeria today. Subsidy gone, parallel market rates gone, without plan, no direction. So part of the things we want to ask the people contesting now is, will they bring subsidy back? If yes, how? If no, what are they going to do to reduce the suffering of the Nigerian people? What do you think?
Thank you very much, Pastor Enebili. Regarding should the government subsidize anything for the people? Yes, subsidy is an important role or responsibility of the government, but you can't subsidize everything. Certain parts of our lives needs to be subsidized, because that's why we have a government. But regarding the removal, so to answer your question, the first aspect of that question, that do I believe that the government has the responsibility to subsidize certain areas of our lives? Yes, I believe that. Then regarding the removal of subsidy for petrol, do I agree with the removal? Yes, I agree with the removal. And I'll tell you why I say I agree with the removal. The issue of subsidy came up when Senator Bukola Saraki raised the issue on the floor of the Senate, and they got a lot of people. They found out the corruption. They were able to convict some. They were able to charge some to court, but they've not gone after most of them. And we can conjecture, we can assume, we can postulate the reasons why they've not done that. Perhaps some of them are funders of politicians. Perhaps the money has commingled one way or the other. But that system was becoming unsustainable because it was now becoming like a racket. So removing it now, has it given us any benefit as a country? Yes, it has. But the problem we now have, which is when Nigerians are not speaking up again, is that they've removed subsidy. Removal of subsidy now allowed our governors to have triple the amount of resources they had before. So they are the ones that should now use that money to now subsidize the lifestyle of their people, or to provide resources for their people in their states. But what are they doing? They are buying LX600, they are using White Elephant projects, and they are doing all sorts of expenses that don't have any direct benefit on the people. So the removal of that
Faruq,
yes,
if you say that,
yes,
this is money that they did not bargain for. So
yes,
the person that was removing the subsidy did not have a plan for what he will do with the money. Was his plan simply to give it to the governors?
No, sir. Let me explain the plan. His plan was not to give it. Yes.
So if his plan was simply to give it to the governors without a plan, that's where we are.
No, sir. Let's understand the plan. The plan was that the government was channeling all its resources into payment of subsidies, so it could not even operate as a country. So what the federal government wanted to achieve was that if we block subsidy and we stop pumping this money into subsidy, the country will make more money. Then the money we are saving as the federal government, they can now pay salaries. And don't forget that when they were paying subsidy, about 27 states could not pay salaries. About 27 states could not pay salaries of their workers. So the moment the government stopped paying subsidy, the government had some funds to play with, and that's why they have some projects. But on the other hand as well, the state governments got more resources that they are not using very well. Some people have said, yes, maybe the government should have created alternative, maybe buses, have a palliative system in place before removing that subsidy. Well, that's also a very valid argument. But personally, looking at the subsidy arrangement, right from Jonathan, from the time I listened to the Emir of Kano, when he was Central Bank Governor, Sanusi Lamido, when he said it back there during Jonathan's period, when I listened to his arguments, and Okojo on the need to remove subsidy, I immediately resonated with the point immediately. And then I supported it as far back as then. So it was no longer sustainable for us as a country to continue paying that subsidy. We would have crashed. It was an economic issue. It wasn't about sentiment. It's a numbers game. If we continue that subsidy, it wasn't sustainable. But the point is not that should the government has come up with other plans to make life better for the citizen? Yes. Have they done that? Not really. But the major culprits, as far as I'm concerned, are the governors, because they've seen slush funds and they are not using it to the benefit of the people. Instead, they are building flyovers where we don't need flyovers. They are constructing roads where we don't need roads so that they can take money out of the system. So if we held our governors more accountable, then this effect of the removal of subsidy on the citizenry will reduce. Governor Makinde in Oyo State, he has a subsidized bus that they take people from work to their homes and they pay maybe a small amount of money. He subsidized that from a particular period of time. There are buses. He provided a lot of perks for the people. So the pressure has been reduced a little bit on them. On them. What are other governors doing about it? In Lagos State, we have some markets where they say sell at cheap price and all those things, but they need to do more of that because federal government is not the one that will come and subsidize my local government. I have a state governor, but we are not holding our governments, our governors accountable. We are not shouting federal government, when the bulk of the resources, if you spread it around, is going to the state governments. So, and if you notice it, all the other presidential aspirants, they cannot tell you that they are going to remove, so they are going to bring back subsidy because it was economically unsustainable. It was economically unsustainable. So to that extent, yes, it's painful. I mean, I also pay for fuel. If I want to fill up my tank now, I pay 125,000 naira. Before I used to pay 75,000 naira. So, but now I'm also very careful. Nigerians too, we go to places we're not supposed to go to. To people who carry cars different. Now I'm very careful. I don't go out anyhow. I manage myself because I have to comport myself.
You're sounding like Mr. Bayo Adelabu now, that Nigerians will just on our fridge and go away. That's
No,
why
but
we
sir,
are
that's the
consuming
truth.
too much light.
Sir, that's the truth. Sir, there was a time I used to put on
Excuse-
AC anyhow. This is the truth. When we had band A, before we had band A, you put on AC in the living room, you're not there, you're leaving it on. Now we don't put on all those things anymore.
You know,
We regulate ourselves.
when the father is broke, he will blame the children of eating too much butter, bathing twice a day, brushing twice. Why, Oh, but on a different note, I think the government removed subsidy because they were the people, they couldn't take on the subsidy thieves. And
Yes.
they expected us, the citizens, to take on the subsidy thieves, which was not fair. But we have a lot of hands up, so I'm going to allow people to ask their questions. We have Ade Kule, Ajay Sebutu, then Sonia, then Henry. Those first three. We have quite a lot of people, so I will just plead that you go straight to the point. You have 90 seconds. That's 1 hour, 1 minute, 30 seconds. Please don't take too much time. Just ask your question straight away, and let's have a lot of people that can take on. Adekule, over to you. Go ahead with your.
Thank you very much. I just canceled. I'm calling from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. I just canceled my ticket for a trip to Nigeria in December because of this insecurity. I don't think we have credible people running Nigeria, the set of politicians we have. I believe Abdul Salam didn't do enough investigation of people that they transited this politics to in 1999. Because how come this crop of politicians we have do not know or figure that the presidential system is too expensive and inappropriate and find an alternative course to run this country? Again, how come they did not figure that the 1999 Constitution is so flawed and it removed accountability? For example, Governors collect money from the federal government every month. There is no clause in that constitution that asks the giver of that money, the federal government, to ask for accountability from these governors. How come up till now, the governors are taking the money that's supposed to go to local government? Because if you look everywhere in Nigeria, did you see credible local government administration? When you do not have a working local government administration, banditry becomes easy. And that's what we're suffering now. So, look, the guy Abbas just said that, oh, I hope they're not coming to Ejigbo. Mr. Abbas, they are coming to Ejigbo and they are coming to Lagos. You better take it now. They are coming.
All right,
So
thank you.
if you want to go and
Thank you
get your
very
gun,
much.
go get it. So again, we have a terribly run country with, I don't know how we're going to fix it, but the crop of people we'll have, look at the opposition. They couldn't get themselves together. Everybody's like selfish, you know. Yes, it's true that you cannot blame the federal government for everything because that's why you have the state and local government. But when those people are not held accountable, when the governors are cornering the money that belongs to running of a local government, then everything. This is not the way we should be running. Honestly, I
All
don't know
right,
how we're
thank you
going to
very
fix it,
much.
but this country is
Yeah,
not doing well.
that's why we're here. Thank you very much. Sonia, allow Sonia to unmute. Thank you very much, Adekunle.
Mhm.
Sonia, are you there?
Good evening, everyone. Yes, I'm here.
Okay, straight to your question. Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Yes.
everyone.
Yes, sir.
What I want to say this evening is that this government has failed woefully, and there's no two ways about it. Because right now, if we cannot tell ourselves the truth, then we are not going to get any solution. We are not going to make any headway. I remember during Jonathan time, it was not like this. But people came out, they protested, they did everything, and they removed him. Why is it so difficult? Why is it so difficult for people to say the truth? That this government has failed woefully. When you come out, you want to speak, they'll pick you up, they arrest you. It's more like a tyranny. They arrest you. See Justice Crack the other time. Came out that some military people sent him food that they are giving to the soldier. These are people that are in the front of the war to fight. They're giving them food like food that they give to dogs. And they pick him up just because he said that. You cannot speak, you cannot do anything. So until we tell ourselves the truth, that this government have failed woefully, and tribalism will not let our people come up to say the truth. They are still lying to themselves because the person that is there is their brother. Until we start to work in unity, let us begin to know that we are Nigeria, not Hausa, not Igbo, not Yoruba. You stand as a Nigerian first. That is when we will make
All right.
headway.
So
Thank you.
far the two people is just comments. Thank you very much. Henry, go ahead. Thank you very much, Sonia. I mean, you've made your voice known. Henry, allow Henry to unmute. Is Henry still there or he has dropped off? Henry, unmute.
They just allowed me to unmute. Thank you so much, Pastor Sonny. Thank you, Pastor Itua and Auntie Jumoke, if she's there. I don't really comment on this session again because of the restrictions. I can't really speak to. I like to hear my opinion to the fullest. I'm just coming out today because the opinion of your guest is just turning my belly. It's unfortunate, and if we're going to have guests that are going to be political, maybe we should make it a debate so that some of us that disagree, we can hear our voice. Give us 15 minutes, give us 30 minutes to hear our voice. It's unfortunate that, some of us in diaspora, we see government run like autopilots, and Nigerians are living in a bubble. It's as if Nigerians are completely disconnected from civilization. What is going on? You score a government that cannot protect its people, a government that inflation is taken off, a government that cannot even manage its currency in the last 10 years, a government that they even came out 2 days ago to say MPR, the monetary policy ratio, they've increased it by 26%. That means commercial bank is going to lend money to people at 35%. If I borrowed 1 billion from Zenith Bank, I'm going to pay back 350 million. Does that even make any sense? And people will still justify such policies as government succeeding in Nigeria? Macroeconomics has succeeded. How? What of the micro that affects you and the common people in Nigeria? Rice that you bought 15 years ago, the bread I've been buying forever, 10, 15 years ago in Canada, it's still the same price. You can ask the guy that spoke from Winnipeg. Inflation in Nigeria is almost 1,000% in the last 10 years, and people are giving a government a B. The government cannot even protect its people. The most important requirement for government in Nigeria.
Henry, hold your fire till after party. We'll take all this.
Thank you.
We'll get you. Yes,
Pastor Sonny.
thank you. We'll take all this at the after party. So Faruq, mostly comments. Do you want to respond?
Yes, I mean, my response is very straightforward, and is that yes, there are areas for improvement. Some of us are in the system. We are in the game. We join the party. We go home to vote. We travel all the way from Lagos. We talk to our people. We spend our resources. We are not in Canada. We are not in America. Countries don't get built by making noise, by abusing the government, by criticizing the government. You must get your hands in the system, and that's what we're trying to do here. The essence for asking questions is so that you can also share your own diverse view. And I said it before you started asking your questions. I'm not a government official, and I have a right to score the government, whatever it is I want to score the government, because I voted. I went round and I assessed and determined who I wanted to choose as the president of the country. So I don't see. Yes, you can be frustrated. You might be disappointed with the government. We also have our own frustrations. We are living in Nigeria. You are in Winnipeg. So those of us here, we are also facing the heat. So you can't cry more than the bereaved. But what do we need to do? Where are you channeling your energy to? We are channeling our energy to discussing Nigeria, to charting a way forward, to bringing alternatives in the system. So let's not get unnecessarily emotional and passionate and all that. Numbers is a numbers game. Politics is a numbers game. It's a numbers game. We are debating, we are discussing. So let's get them. If you don't like the government, vote for NDC, vote for ADC, vote for somebody else. But you can't tell me the view to hold. I'm an adult. So you can't tell me that this is the way I see it. If I've seen it this way, then you see it in your own way. And let's respect each other's views. But to come and say that I'm not speaking the truth because I've assessed the government in a particular way, then you do your own assessment. That's why it's my assessment. And that's why it's my views. So that's what I want to say, Pastor. So that we can be circumspect in the kind of comments we make. If we don't have any serious comments to make, then let us questions.
Oh, no, Faruq, don't, there's no need getting angry. You are the guest.
I'm not getting angry. So I'm not getting angry. You know, I said it's like, it's beginning to look like an... So I begin to look like unnecessary attack. I'm not the president. I'm not the one that's holding office. You can't bring the energy towards me. No, I my views.
You see, they are not really talking to you. I think you are making an error. They are not really talking about you. They are just talking about the system, to be honest. So I would just advise that you remove yourself from whatever comment you hear. Because you are not in government.
What I responded to was that he said, and you scored the government a B, meaning that are you for real? Are you blind? I mean, that's what I'm responding to. If you want to make your own,
all right. Okay, let's leave that. Let's move on. Let's move on. It's okay. And in fairness to Henry, I think both of you can work together. He's doing a massive lot with youth in Nigeria. A massive lot. Okay. So Faruq, I think but let me allow Professor Nike Grinch to speak and ask a question or make a comment. I think mostly it's comment that people want to make today, quite frankly. Mommy, you can unmute yourself now. Professor Grinch, yeah. Go ahead with your comment.
Thank you very much, Pastor Sonny. Thank you, Mr. Faruq. You know, you always have to tread the needle carefully when you are speaking to us all, because we are, diverse. We're a diverse group. Anyway, you did your best, I think, and I would like to commend you for that. Every time we discuss Nigeria, I just feel that all we are doing is discussing the symptoms of a failed constitution, of a constitution that is unworkable. We're supposed to be working at three levels. The three levels vertically and three levels horizontally. Three levels vertically is federal, state, and local government. Then horizontally, you have the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary. And this, we have to sort of play like Russian roulette with these things. And it's failing, honestly. Even the best president cannot make it. This is my own. I feel that until we address those basic problems of being able to get the trust of the people and to get us to be inclusive at every level, I don't think we are going to make it. Talking about inclusivity, women have been left out totally in these affairs. Look at all the people who are parading themselves as being capable of becoming presidents. Nobody has even thought about women. Okay, you can say that because I'm a woman, I'm bringing that up. But I believe that, the fact that some people are left out means that we don't have a good constitution. So that. I want your comments on that. The second thing is that the way the executive runs its own agenda means that a lot has to do with the practice of the civil servants. Please don't take this lightly. It is the civil servants that are ruling this country. But they are, doing it undercover. And it's very difficult for one president to uncover what they are doing. So this is a problem for us. And Mr. Farouk, address it. Tell us what we can do about that.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay, ma.
Thank you.
Blessing Onajaide. Thank you. Let me allow Blessing to unmute so that you can quickly make your comments. Blessing, unmute.
Yeah, I'm here. Good evening, everyone. Pastor, to everybody. So my comment is this: like the aspect of security. I think it was yesterday, this morning, about the consideration that we can now carry weapons. That doesn't sit well with me at all. I mean, I just feel like this is another shift of responsibility. What else are they going to shift on us? Already, we provide our roads, we provide our water, we provide our light, and now security. They are now shifting that responsibility on us again. What can we do about this? This doesn't sit well with me at all. And then considering the fact that already people are just being trigger friendly, or what is it? What's that word they use for it? And just shooting people dead, no justice, and now you're shifting responsibility on us, telling us we can now. No, we just woke up, right? We just realized that we can now have a firearms. We have a right to that because some governments have refused to take up responsibility where they should. Okay, if we're talking about complicity, it's very easy. Everybody says it. It's obvious. Can somebody just? I don't. Can somebody
Okay.
do their job and just get people and just bring people to justice, get people to take accountability for the roles they are meant to play? And if they are not playing those roles, there's a boss somewhere. Can somebody do the right thing?
All right,
Thank you.
Blessing. Thank you very much. Just for clarity, I mean, Farouk was only stating an opinion that if government cannot provide security, they should allow us or allow communities to arm themselves. So it's not as if it's government saying it. All right. So that was just an opinion he was expressing that if they can't. But let me allow Hamdalat Adebayo to ask a question. Hamdalat, are you there? On mute. We have asked you to unmute yourself. Go ahead.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Faruq. Thank you very much for the wonderful presentation. My question is very brief. I just want to ask, because you spoke about we holding our government accountable, but it seems that sometimes, even after holding them accountable, the judiciary system, it has its own lap too. When we hold them accountable and it's obvious that okay, this is what happened and this person should be brought to justice, but they end up going free. So it's kind of tiring for people, like when you keep doing a thing over and over again, but you're not getting the results that you want. So most people just sit back and be like, nothing will happen at the end of the day. So they just let the corrupt people continue running the states and the government. So what can we do about this system of, even after we hold them accountable, there should really be justice served to these people.
Thank you very
That's just
much,
my
Shamdala. And Abbas is a lawyer, so he should have something to say about that on how the judiciary can be more effective and help us. Okay, Abbas, let me allow you to attend to those. We still have quite a lot of hands up, and as imagined, it's a very passionate topic. But take a bite at those comments and questions.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll start with Professor Grange's question. Thank you very much, Ma, for your comments. I appreciate it. Regarding the question that civil servants are the ones controlling the country, 100% I agree with her, absolutely. The kind of rackets you can adopt. Sir, can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me, sir? Yes.
We can hear you now. You went off for a while, yeah.
Okay, yes. So I think the problem is that how do we choose our leaders? What kind of leaders are we sending into government? When you send people who see governance as a way of making money or as a way of wielding power or as a way of empowering their friends, then even if the civil servants don't want to corrupt them, they will look for a way to corrupt the civil servants. So I think it's just about improving the quality of the kind of leaders we have, and which is why I've always said that leaders come from political parties. As Nigerians, we can populate political parties. You can dominate political parties. And when you dominate political parties, then you can then control how they present candidates or what kind of candidates they present. Most of us Nigerians, we've put our hands in our pockets for too long, and we've allowed the dregs of the society, the buccaneers in the society, take over the political system. And for us to take over the system back from them is not a battle we can win within 5 days or within 5 years or within 6 years. They are already entrenched in the system. So we have to come into the system and gradually start seeing how can we change our mind. I mean, about 3 weeks ago, when I told someone that Amzat was going to be the next governor of Lagos State, that they've endorsed him, the man said he doesn't believe so. That there's always drama in Lagos State, that the person who will be governor of Lagos State usually comes out at the tail end. That if somebody shows interest at the early age, that the fact that Dr. Amzat started showing interest early shows that he can't be the candidate. But I'm sure that they must have been compelled to choose Dr. Amzat because he's been in the game for a while and he's very competent. I've not heard anybody say anything untoward against him other than the fact that maybe he's not from Lagos State or thereabouts. So because he was in the system, if he was not in the system, he wouldn't have had the confidence to come out, and everybody had to force their hands to adopt him. So what we need to do is we need to go back inwards. How do we manage the process that turns out leaders that when they get into government, if a civil servant say this is how we steal money here, they will hand him over to EFCC. But because the leaders that we are bringing in are those who want to make money, they are even always waiting for the civil servants to give them ideas on how to steal money. So I think it's more of a leadership problem. We did House of Rep primaries now. Has anybody spoken about your constituency, about your state house of assembly? Have you written something about it? How it was a sham, or how they did it very well, or who are you supporting? Are you promoting anybody that you're supporting? Those are the things I think we need to do, and we can get it right. Madam Blessing said we shouldn't be responsible for our own security, that we've been doing everything and we shouldn't. Yes, I agree with you. Government should be the one to provide all these things. But I am a solution-oriented problem. I don't believe in complaining. Instead of complaining, I will ask myself, what can I do to make the system better? Whether or not I achieve my objective is a different thing entirely. But I focus on what can I do. If the government has failed me on security, then I look for how can I provide my security, or how can I support a government that will give me security. That's what I look at. So it's not like we shouldn't be the ones to provide for solar, provide water in our house, we should have basic responsibility. And that's the only reason why we're having this conversation, why we are participating in the system, because we believe that one day we would have a chance to contribute towards development of our respective communities and our respective homes. So yes, it shouldn't be our responsibility. But until when, if government does not give me light, I won't say I'm not going to have light because government does not give me light. I'll have to create my own source. And that's why some people are relocating abroad, because they believe government is not giving them what they want, what they need to live a good life, and there are better opportunities abroad. They go abroad. But some of us will not want to go abroad. We want to stay in the country and we'll make do with what we have until we get changes. So that's what I want to say. Then regarding Madam Amdalat Adebayo's question, the truth is that these cowboys we're talking about, they want you to say, I've seen some people's comments, our votes don't count, this thing does not count. That is what they want you to say. And the moment you start saying that, then you are falling for their game. Yes, it might be a bit difficult, but we must not give up. We must not give up, because these guys that we are challenging, they don't have staying power. If you are consistent, look at Peter Obi. He only ran for president 4 years ago, and now he wants to run again. Look at the kind of crisis he created in the political system just within 6 months campaign. If he stays for the next 8 years or 4 years or whatever, you are sure that he's going to be able to come in one way or the other. Look at Kwapanso. So these are guys that could even look at Atiku. That's one thing about him. He has the grit. So you must have your staying power. If the judiciary, there are 3 layers. There's the High Court, there's appeal, there's Supreme Court. One thing people don't understand is that depending on the kind of lawyer you get or the facts of the case, some of you might think this person is a thief. But when they prosecute him and they don't present the relevant evidence that can be used to convict him, it will go scot-free. So at times, before we comment and say this person went scot-free or the judiciary is corrupt or something, we won't have looked at the case file, we won't have looked at the evidence presented. And judges must rule based on the evidence presented before them. If your evidence is not compelling, they won't grant you judgment. And if you feel that the High Court did not grant you judgment, there's Court of Appeal there, there's Supreme Court there. But I believe that our judiciary is doing very well. Of course, there are bad eggs in every system, in every sector that we have. So there might be some bad eggs there, but by and large, and I tell clients all the time, I say I don't believe that somebody can say they will buy the judge, they will do this one. If I'm not happy with the High Court, I go to Court of Appeal. If I'm not happy with Court of Appeal, I go to the Supreme Court if I have a case. So I don't fall for those general statements that my vote will not count, this thing will not count. Yesterday when I was passing Ikeja, I saw all the primaries they were having, all these are delegates. Most of the people queuing on the lines were area boys, people looking for money. I didn't see any professional or any young person that you can say, okay, this person works in a bank or this person is an IT person, he just came to queue on the line. Most of the people there are just people that want to come and collect 2,000 naira and all those things. So we must not give up, because it's our country. All the countries we are talking about that they are doing very well, is their citizens that fought for it. Some people lost their lives, some people protested, some people participated, they ran for office 10 times, 7 times before they got it. So we are the ones that will have to do the job. Nobody's going to do the job for us. We have to do the job. Look at how long it took President Tinubu to become president of Nigeria, since 1991, just to achieve his own dream. So if we want to also get a better leader that will be better than him, then it means that we must do ×2 of the work he's doing. But we can't work for 10% of his own capacity and think that we can challenge them. It's not going to work that way. So let's just keep at it and we'll get there. Thank you very much, sir.
All right. Thank you very much for your responses. Folayemi Oladimeji, then we'll take Joseph Folorenshaw, then we'll take Susan Oyemade, those 3 in that order. So I have Folayemi, are you there? Unmute yourself.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I just want to talk about the security situation of the country. I heard what the guest talked about the security, but to me, I feel that our government are playing games with Nigerian citizens. There was a time, recently I was listening to Gumi's interview. It's not a recent interview. So, and in the interview, he said people were accusing him that he has a relationship with the bandits. And this man said he's not the only one. He said our government knows all these bandits and they know where to get them. So that means if they really want to combat this terrorism, they know what to do. They know the people behind it. But since they are deceiving us, if they really want to do something, they know what to do. That's that. Another thing about the security is that I believe that we still need to take it upon ourselves. I don't know how we can start the community policing, because I see some things that are worrisome. I reside on the mainland in Lagos, and every time we see trucks that bring cows, it will bring like 100 horrible-looking guys into Lagos. And there was a time I went to work at Mowe. I just saw about 50 guys came down from a truck coming from the north. And they were looking so wild and so horrible, carrying one bag with them. And they just walked into, I just tapped my colleague. We were driving behind. I said, these are terrorists. These people are terrorists. Then who will go and accuse them? Who will tell them that, please, all of you, come here. Let us check your bags. What do you have in your bags? Do we have that kind of system in place? Because these people just flock in every time. They are surrounded us. They are all around us.
Okay.
It's as if nobody is safe again. So I believe that in the area of community awareness, something needs to be done. Because at times we see those things, I can't go and accuse them, but if there's a system in place by which these people can be tamed, I think it's very important. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Susan Oyemade, thank you very much for letting me. Susan, unmute. We have asked Susan to unmute. I can't find Joseph or Lauren Shaw anymore. But
thank you
Susan,
very much for giving me this opportunity, and good evening to everybody. I'd like to shift away our focus from government to us, the citizens. If we think back or look back, when things were easier for us in Nigeria, what was the population? But what is the population now? I'm sure, we're overpopulated. So can we now see what we can do to talk to Nigerians? Instead of having 10 children, 20 children, some people 30 in a family, how can we reduce this? Because the more people we have, the more we will not be able to take care, of them. In some homes, if you see the way they live in one room, you have almost 15 people sleeping there. So let it now be a new me, a new Nigeria. What can I do to reduce all these problems we have? I know we have to look up to government in some areas, but how many years have we been waiting for government? Okay. Have we been able to achieve anything? Much? No, except, there are some areas where we cannot really do anything. But the area of bringing children to this world and making them to suffer. Some are not going to school. Some have become area boys, area girls. So what can we do as citizens to see how we can look into because if you look at other countries who are doing very well today, they reduce their population by encouraging the women or the men to marry less women and women to have less children. So I want us to look at that area. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for your comment in that space. Thank you. I can't see Hope. Okay, I think Hope Egu, are you still there? If you are there, just raise up your hand. I think you have disappeared a bit. You're falling off the radar. Let me allow Adebola iPhone on mute. Adebola.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Initially, I was invited about 3 months ago, and
Yes.
I kind of got hooked on this stuff.
I
want everybody to realize that the people that come here, they love Nigeria. If they did not love Nigeria, they will not be here. And I believe that this is the second time that Faruq is going to appear on this panel. He was saying some things, and the more he talks, the more things I would like to talk about, but I don't have the time. Maybe after the party, we can say some things.
After party, we can talk about that.
Yes. The first thing that we really need to concern ourselves about is transparency. The technology is there. We can keep it simple. The federal government allocates money to these governors. All they have to basically really do is have a website, and the website will tell us how the money is being spent, how much they were given, the allocation, and all those things. When they are doing improvement, at least in the US, you will see a sign saying that this stuff is done by this person. This improvement is done by this allocation. There is basically accountability. And also he was talking about subsidy for petrol. If the what do you call it? If the refineries were working, we should all be enjoying that God has blessed Nigeria with all these resources. People are not enjoying it. The first time I realized that there is trouble in that country was when they built the refinery in Kaduna. Nobody knows exactly how much that refinery was built for. Nobody knows. They do all this turnaround management and all those things. We don't know. They just keep on spending the money. Let us look at Norway. Norway had
Okay,
their own.
all right, sir. Like you,
No,
right?
just 1 second, okay? Just 1 second.
Okay,
Let's talk about the sovereign wealth.
okay,
Norway started their sovereign wealth in 1990. It's one of the largest sovereign wealth now, and now they want to invest in Dangote refinery. When I see those things, I keep on asking myself, why can't my country be like this? Although I live abroad, each time I go someplace here, I keep on asking myself, why can't this be like my country? No,
exactly,
there's no place like home. There is no
exactly.
place
None.
like home. And I want
Absolutely,
to
I agree with you, sir. We
and I
simply
want
don't have a lot of time.
and I want to applaud one person before the after party. Jumoke has been very, very, very good. I just want
All
to
right.
say that.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Abbas, we'll allow you to take that. We might not be able to take more questions. It's already 6:30. After this, Pastor Itua will come and round up, and then those that still have questions, I enjoin you to stay on at the after party. We don't want to keep Abbas for too long. Abbas, you can take on those questions and comments and make a response.
Okay, for Mrs. Madam Folayemi Oladimeji, she talked about people, the infiltration into the country. Yes, into Lagos. I agree with her. There is no regulation. In the estate where I live, at times when I'm walking to the mosque at night, I see people from on the road just sitting by people's houses, like all these Niger people, and most of them are our security guards and all those things. And I feel very concerned that there is no data. If anybody does anything wrong, you can pretty much not trace him. It will just disappear and there will be no tracing. So it's a sense of it's a source for concern. And I agree with what Mr. Adebola also said, that technology can be used for all these things. Entry point of a state, we should be able to get all this data. Let's even know. I think Lagos State came up with this Lasrera or something, one card that they say all residents of Lagos State should have that card. But unfortunately, I don't know the level of enforcement that we had. So it's very important. Madam Susan Amadi talked about population control. I'm not sure I really got the drift of what she was trying to say there, but I know that some countries are controlling their population. But all those countries that control their population in the past, now they are incentivizing their people to have more children now because their aging population is becoming the dominant force. And a country like Nigeria, our youthful population is our strength. Unfortunately, the economic power is not there. So if we can create economic opportunities for our youth, our population might not necessarily be a challenge. For Mr. Adebola, yeah, I think he just made comments on transparency, on how we should know how much government is spending and all that. I think some governments already have all those data, all those websites, they put it there. The video that was played earlier, somebody showed about the line of government spending, how the military has zero. I'm sure that must have been from a government source and all that. So but I agree with you that there should be more transparency regarding how much is being spent regularly that people can easily track. So Pastor Enebi, I think they were mostly comments. I don't think any of them had any particular questions for me. And if I missed the question, please you can feel free to clarify.
We have 7 hands up, at the instance of Pastor, you will indulge us to stay a bit longer. We are going to give everybody 1 minute, please. We are up on time. So at the risk of not taking you, we appreciate that you spent your time to get on this platform and you have a comment or a contribution. So I'm taking Hope Egu. I'm allowing you to unmute because I knew you had raised your hand earlier on. Are you there?
Yes. Yes. Good evening, sir. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Please be brief. Go ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Faruq, for being around. And I have just 2 or 3 things to say. The first thing is this. Yes, it's true that the president increased the allocations to the governors, but we actually didn't know what was going on with that money until just last week when a quarrel broke out about all the money they were keeping aside for elections. So the excess of that money, a good percentage of that money was being set aside for elections, not for development. That's number one. A second thing I want to point out is I've always said it, democracy may not be the ideal form of governance for this country. And I'm not advocating anything, but I'm just saying that it may not be the best. Then the third thing I want to say is I maintain that we are too docile as a people. Everybody knows that we are all very afraid to die. No, but everybody would rather run into their homes and hide than come out and stand up for their rights. So this is the reason we have the country we have today. Thank you very much, Seth.
Thank you for being that brief and quick and sharp. I really appreciate that. Okay, let's go to Olabisi Idiong. Olabisi, we have said you should unmute. Can you unmute? Okay, Olabisi, unmute. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You are muting and unmuting yourself.
Let's call the next person and we can come back to him.
Okay. The next person is Joseph Folarunshaw. We see you again. You were here before. Go ahead. Joseph Folarunshaw.
Next.
Hello,
Maybe
sir.
I've not lowered her.
Hello,
Okay,
sir.
Joseph, go
Okay.
ahead.
Hello, sir. I'm
Yeah.
here now. They were not muting me. Yeah, I'm here now. Joseph
Okay,
Folonshaw, let me thank our very, very patriotic pastor, Pastor Isra, for this wonderful program. The question I want to ask is this. What do you think, guys, what do you think that the governors and their team surely be proactive? Because when there was serious insecurity in Kwara State,
Joseph, we can't seem to hear
Kwara
you.
State was being hit. And I was having a conversation with someone. I say, I think the issue is not even Kwara, that very close to Kwara, but the governors for second term to become a senator and the rest of. So, what do you think we should do that in Nigeria we should value life as it's being attacked?
Okay.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Can
but
you
we
hear me
didn't
now,
hear
sir?
you. It's okay. It's all right.
Hello?
I think we hear you. We heard you. What should
Can
we
you hear me
do
now,
so
sir?
that life can be valued? We take that.
Yes, especially.
Yeah. Okay, Olabisi, go ahead. Unmute yourself and ask. We heard you, Joseph. I think your connection is poor. The same Nigerian problem that we're talking about.
The next thing should be.
Okay, Olabisi, go ahead with your question.
You can talk.
All right, let's go to the next person. Alabisi seems to be having challenges. Who is Ken?
Yeah, Ken.
Yeah, I just want to look at some areas. First of all, we had the challenge of this is my opinion, that's my opinion. I think this platform is not a matter of Christian, Muslim, or North, South. Or, I think what we need to do is to look at the indices with respect to whether there has been performance by governments from federal to state to local government, whatever indices you use, we can acknowledge, be transparent so that they can improve that this is an extremely poor governance. We need to be transparent about that. Then also the aspect of the subsidy, we all agree, they said subsidy must be removed, we must be removed. But till today, we are still subsidizing our politicians. When will that be removed so that we can all be able to understand that subsidy removal applies to everyone? Then lastly, we have been talking about security. We have been talking about security, and definitely we don't want everybody armed. But it seems as if going down to the state police, the local government police, the government on all levels have been dragging their feet about this. Is it because of political reasons? I believe that if we are not asking for everybody to be armed, we have enough retired soldiers, we have enough retired policemen that they already are trained to carry arms. They already know what to do. They can be put into, a lot of them are probably hanging around looking for what to do. We can be mobilized even in their various communities. Now they are serving their communities. I believe they will be able to better train other people in security measures. And also they will be able to ensure that because it's their community, they ensure that the safety of their communities are their utmost priority. But it's almost as if nothing is being done. We are just, every day we hear about incidents happening, and it's disheartening. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for those solutions that you provide. I think they are fantastic. Kuti Rabiu. Kuti Rabiu, on mute.
Okay, thank you, sir. Rafi,
Yes.
not Rabi.
Okay, Rafi, I'm sorry.
Okay, no problem, sir. Good evening, all. I want to believe that whatever we say here is for the love of the country. Correct. So let's remove emotion from it. Some of us some live abroad, some of us live here. But one thing I've learned is either those people are abroad or home. Nigerians love this country. Nigerians love this country. I will address the issue of insecurity. The Constitution of Nigeria put it squarely on the shoulder of Nigeria, of the government, the welfare and the security of the people. So the basic reason or the primary reason why any government exists is security, which is basic to existence of the citizens. So in that regard, can we say this government has done well? Let's not politicize this matter. Has this government done well? Right from the time that this issue broke out, Chibok, school abduction, Dapchi, recently Ogbomosho or whatever, or Ririri, or I don't know what they call the local government. So let's just look at the matter, because all the issues are still staring us in the face. Then lastly, economically, look at it. The president of America went to China not too long. President of Russia went to China. What are they looking for? It's because China is relevant now. They are relevant. So I don't know.
That's right, sir.
So I hold my peace here, sir. My own is more comments.
Yes, it's more comment. Thank you very much. We still have 5 hands up. I mean, I say 1 minute, but I see people are taking a lot of time, and we really have to release everyone. Please keep it to 1 minute. Pastor Olayinka Olubanki, 1 minute, so that we can
Okay,
just take all
thank
the
you.
comments and questions. Thank you.
Yeah, I would just say that I live in the United States, and I'm privileged to have been open to a couple of things every time I travel around, and also in Nigeria. I'm sure that I've traveled to every state in Nigeria and I've worked possibly there. Now, I love Nigeria. If you tell me today that I should just come over, Nigeria is open, and we need to do all that we are saying now, would be very glad. That's my first comment. My second comment would be that Nigeria has been compromised, whether security or finance or governance. Now, in 2014, when Chibok thing happened or so, all of us already knew, we know that people in government had already said they brought strange people into Nigeria, and it has caused insecurity. And I tell you sincerely that not only that Nigeria has been compromised, the ideal life, the ideal thing that's supposed to be happening to Nigeria today will not, all our expectation will not happen through these people that are there, because they will not change anything. I believe that until we have the right people who have the mind, the heart for Nigeria and the people of Nigeria in position, either in local government or state or whatsoever, and they begin to implement these to make sure that what we want in Nigeria comes up. That's two. The third one, maybe the last one, is that Nigeria can be better than any country in the world. I can stand and say it anywhere. I cannot be in the House of Rep or Senate and they kill people in my state and I will still be sitting down collecting money because I have to collect sitting money. I said last week, it's all based on lack of commitment. We have all the people there, they are not committed to anybody. They're not committed to anything. They just want to be positioned. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We have 4 hands now. Tunde, Ademola, Bola, Olabisi. 1 minute, and please, let's go with. So I have 4 of you, and I'll take 4 of you 1 minute. No more hands after this. Tunde, Odunuga,
Okay.
Ademola, I've asked all of you to unmute. Just stay on cue.
Okay.
Tunde, go ahead, please. 1 minute.
Thank you for putting up this beautiful leadership series. So just to contribute, it's more of a contribution and supporting some of Faruq's postulation. So I think at the core of Nigeria's problem is an internal locus of control. So a lot of us have an external locus of control. What do I mean by internal locus of control? Is the belief that your growth is dependent on an external force. So that's the reason why you see the mechanic, the plumber, will just do something not good and expect God to push him to progress, or expect something else, some other higher power to move him to progress, and don't focus on what leads you. On issue of inflation, of MPR and the interest rates, I want to just explain it to you simple and draw it back to us. That it's as a function of us as a people, the generality of us as a people. Now, inflation is caused by too much money following few hands. If everybody produces, if everybody does what they are supposed to do, inflation comes down. If there's a market, if everybody takes security as their own responsibility, means, like all the state police, people are arguing that state police is the solution. That's bringing responsibility, closer to the people. That brings security. That brings excess. That means prices will come down. If prices come down, the government doesn't have a magic wand to solve problems of inflation, to solve problems of insecurity, to solve problems of exchange rates. If we do our part, if we produce as a nation, people buy more of our currency, people demand more of our currency, the currency has value. Now, if all these things come into place, then MPR automatically gets better. So this idea of we outsourcing things to the government every time is at the core of Nigeria's problem. So I believe there should be a purposeful campaign to work on everybody's psychology, everybody, from the grassroots, that we are in charge of our destiny. We control it somehow. There are some times that you might be powerless, but a lot of times it is it is what can I do? Yes, there's a problem, but
all right. Okay, Tunde, thank you very much. I know you have a lot to say, but we're just short on time. Sorry, so very sorry. Bola Oshibaju, you are already unmuted. Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Bola Oshibodu Adetula. I'm not Oshibaju. Anyway, quick one.
I didn't say Oshibaju.
You are good, Pastor Enebi. You are good.
Mr. Faruq, what can we do as a people to stop the Senate becoming the retirement home of governors? Or are we so helpless that we just continue to do sit down dey look? Thank you.
Okay.
That's all.
Thank you. That's all. Very good. Thank you very much for keeping it short. Ademola Akintoye, we've asked you to unmute. Okay, one small. Olabisi, if you can unmute also, any one of you.
Good evening. Thank you very much. It's unmuted now.
Finally,
okay.
Go ahead.
Honestly. So thank you very much. So my comment and then question is this. My comment is there has been so much emotion and suspicion in the matter of governance of this nation. And honestly, it wearies those people who actually want to see solutions and not just see tribal, conflicts and all sorts of different conflicts. Now, if we have a case where we have a government and the government is not able to take care of each aspect of governance and of society, why can't the government just come up with a system that works? Because systems are the way you take away emotions and confusion and suspicion. One person can say the government is doing well, the other person can say the same, and they can both be right depending on the perspective that they're coming from. But if we have a system that shows in real time that, look, this is what we budgeted for security. I love that second video. This is what we actually spent on security. And anyone can see real time because we have that technology available, that this is actually what has been done. Then it gives the citizens an ability to actually speak from knowledge and not just sound emotional. It's easy to sweep aside people that sound emotional. But when you sweep aside somebody that's speaking with facts, then that just shows that you're not actually supposed to be in the position of governance. That's one thing. We have so many examples of how this works. We have Saudi Aramco that measures every single drop that comes out of the ground of oil in Saudi Arabia. I was even so impressed by a minister I listened to recently, Dr. Bosun Tijani. This was a minister that I thought, could Nigeria have someone like this? He spoke about his IT strategy. He spoke about his future plans. He spoke about how he's even thinking about coming up with a succession plan, that when he gets out of power, he's going to set up a group of wealthy people who are going to use their own funds and influence to make sure that these projects go ahead. And I just thought to myself, if only people can see that there are people like this that are actually working to get systems in place and get them to work. And this will cool a lot of the blood that we have down. So I really like what Mr. Odunuga, I believe it was, that said that what can we do to actually take our own responsibility? What can we do to play our part? But not everyone can get into government. Not everyone can go through the craziness that it takes to actually get into these political parties sometimes. But what we can do is we can key into a system. We can key into functions that work. So if we can have in every sphere of society transparency, trust, and a system that works, then it's up to the people to now say, okay, I am an expert. Let me lend my expertise to this. Dr. Bosun Tijani went around the world and he used intelligence to gather the best minds in AI.
Thank you very much.
Why can't we do that in every sphere? So so that's just it.
Right.
That's my question.
We get you. Yeah. And you can join us in ALG. We are doing quite a lot. There are various subsets and subgroups, and we're trying to see. Ademola Akintoye, the final hand up. Thank you very much, Olabisi. By the way, are you in Nigeria or you are in UAE? Okay, Ademola, we've asked you to unmute. Okay, maybe he's no longer available. Go ahead, Farouk. Maybe you can take all those and
Okay, all right. Thank you very much.
comment.
I listened to everyone's comment and I thank everyone for their comment. I think I will start from I think Adebola, no transparency. Just a comment on how we need transparency. Mr. Opegu said money is being set aside for election and not development, and that we are too docile as a people. I think I agree with him that as a people we are too docile. I agree with him, and that's one of the problems that we have as a country, and that's what's giving our leaders the confidence to do some of the things they do. If we take them up regularly and we don't celebrate them as we currently do, then they would comport themselves and change their behavior. And he also said he wonders at times that is democracy good for us? I also think about this regularly, and I still talked about it yesterday that I think democracy is not good for people who are not doing well, who don't have a means of livelihood. If a man can't think, he can't eat very well, I don't think that kind of person can vote, should be able to be voting in an election. Because what we have found now in some states is that people just come together and they can just agree that they want to vote a mediocre. And everybody knows that it's a mediocre, but they tell you that we want this mediocre. Because even the people that are voting to, they don't have that capacity to think beyond the 5,000 naira they will collect today. So I think it's something that we should consider and do a lot of research on. That is democracy really the best way for us, given the high rate of poverty and illiteracy we have in our system? Because the people who designed democracy, they designed it for people who can take rational decisions, who can assess candidate and say, okay, based on my assessment, this candidate is a better candidate. Let us vote for this candidate. But the way we have it now, like the state where I come from, people come together and they see a mediocre and they go after him. So I don't wonder that is this the best system we can have as a country? So I think Pastor Enebeli is something we should look into. That we're not saying we want military or whatever, but I think this concept of democracy, is it designed for African governments? Can it work? Or should we look for something else? I think it's a live debate. And Mr. Joseph Folorunsho said, okay, I didn't get his question. He said, okay, what should we do so that life can be more valued? Most of what he was saying was breaking, so I didn't really get him very well. Mr. Ken said, we are still subsidizing politicians. Yes, Mr. Ken, that's a fantastic comment you make, because what I found now is that some people come into government because they want their lifestyle to be subsidized. And we should not make it attractive, because when you make it attractive, you attract the wrong set of people. You attract people who don't have a means of livelihood. Look at some people in the House of Assembly, Senate for 12 years, and they still want to die and go back for the fourth term, for the fifth term. It's because some of them don't have something to fall back on. And the perks they're getting from office, this allowance, that allowance. So if you reduce it significantly, that okay, our politicians should even be earning the same thing they are earning, with teachers are earning, I think that will also help. And I tell people in my state that if I were to be the governor of the state, I'm not going to buy an SUV for any commissioner or any House of Assemblyman. You buy a Toyota Camry, a second-hand Toyota Camry as your official car. So I don't understand why we should be buying Fortuna or Prado for people that cannot afford to buy that car on their own because they don't have any legitimate means of livelihood. So it's something that the government, and if we speak about it, the government will take us seriously. Our docility is also what is causing this problem. Look at the way we only comment on people's affair. This person is marriage has broken down. Everybody will start commenting, sharing skits and all those things. Our youth, we have more skits than educational videos. So if we start talking about this whole issue, then why is the government buying Land Cruiser for senators? Why can't they buy them Kia Picanto? Why can't they say no official car for senators? And by the time we keep on talking about it, the government will capitulate eventually. They won't have a choice than to stop it. But most of us just keep quiet about it. So we should stop something. Because if you subsidize the government, the criminals in the society will keep on rushing to that place, because that's where their life will get better. So it's something we need to look into. He also said the issue of state police, that why is the government dragging its foot on state police? I don't think the current federal government is dragging its foot. The federal government, if you notice their pattern now, they are taking it sector by sector. They've handled railway, they've handled tax. State police is the next. They've handled VAT. State police is the next. And regarding that, we have enough retired policemen. I forgot to mention it earlier when I was talking about security. We have spy policemen. I'm a registered spy policeman. And under the Police Act, policeman rather, under the Police Act, a spy police is supposed to be a reserve for Nigerian police force. So even if you don't want to give everybody ammunition, then you can tell people that, okay, go through the Nigerian Police College and become a spy police. Then if you have a spy police certificate, then you can apply for ammunition. And that as a spy police officer, they can call us for service. We will be happy to serve. So many presidents around the world served their country at one point in time. So if they say, okay, Faruq, take a break from your career for 5 months, 6 months, and come and be a police because you're a spy police, go and serve your community or somewhere, I will be happy to do that. So it's something that we can also, and you can and you give us more people in the police, because most of us will not need to be paid salaries to be able to serve our country. And we'll see that something we are doing, and we can help the system. So maybe police, as part of my solution for security, that the spy policemen we have in Nigeria, they shouldn't just be our drivers. They shouldn't just be our cooks or people working with us in our home. Let's deploy them for active service too. Maybe twice in a month, they should go to this Ogbomoso forest or something. But give us good arms. Don't just send us to the forest without arms. So I think we should look into that as well. Then Kuteyi Raphael said, as the government passed on security. You know, I mentioned it earlier. When I rate a government, I rate them sector by sector. And I'm aware enough to know that the security challenges that we have as a country didn't just start today during President Tinubu's system. And I also mentioned it earlier that there was a coup plot recently. And coup plots happen when people are not happy with you in the military. So as the president has come in now, even if he wants to make a change, he can't make a significant, drastic change in the military because he hasn't sat down very well. He just appointed a homeland advisor recently. Is he homeland? And some people were complaining that, are you duplicating the effort of the national security advisor? But there is something they will have seen that we have not seen. That's why he appointed an homeland security advisor. Now, the NSA too has gone to America recently. Our relationship with the American government is becoming more smooth, and they are giving us resources, they are giving us technology, they are giving us a lot of training. That's also going to yield its own fruits. And they just killed the terrorists recently with the support of the American government. So if you collaborate more with the American government and another government that is willing to help and they give us the necessary technology, eventually we'll be able to kill all these bandits and all these people terrorizing our country. Then Pastor Olayinka Olubakin said, Nigeria has been compromised. I don't like to talk generally on that. Yes, we have our challenges, but I believe that from history and based on what we've read about other countries, I believe it's a passing phase. We just need to be consistent, and we all need to speak up and continue to support organizations like ALG. They're talking about Nigeria, trying to see what we can do to make Nigeria better. When we continue to do that and it compounds, eventually we'll see the reward. Mr. Tunde Odunuga, I absolutely agree with you, what you said. As a country, we're not so productive. The MD of Money Points mentioned it. They're looking for people to hire. And that's the truth. You are looking for a painter. Some people will be hiring painter from Kaduna, taking them everywhere. You know, our youth don't want to work. Everybody wants to be a skits producer. Everybody wants to be an influencer. Everybody wants to be a politician or a Yahoo boy. We don't want to produce. So if we produce a lot, we'll absorb the money and inflation will reduce and the economy will get better for everybody. Most of us buy imported materials. We don't even patronize local stuff. So we're not even helping our economy. So there has to be that mindset shift. And I agree with you very much. So thank you for that. Madam Bola Oshibodu Adetula, she said, what can we do to stop the Senate becoming the retirement home of governors? Thank you very much for that question. Madam, I actually wanted to write an article about this topic last weekend when I read the news about the guy, a member of parliament in the UK, who stepped down so that somebody from the mayor of Manchester can contest an election and now contest for prime minister. And I felt that this was service. And I thought to myself, why can't our governors, why can't they finish second term and say they are not going to run for Senate? Why is everybody going to Senate after serving as a governor? Must you be in government? I think it doesn't just even make sense to me. You know, so I thought about that. I want to write an article about it and say, all our governors, learn from this young guy. He went to Harvard, he went to Oxford, and he stepped down for another person to run for an office. It was a voluntary issue. So our Senate shouldn't be a place, a retirement home for all these old people coming up. And we should speak about it. By the time we keep on speaking about it, talking about it, writing about it, some governors who are nursing their ambition will get embarrassed and they won't want to say it. They won't want to aspire because it's quite embarrassing that once we leave governor, the next thing is Senate. It doesn't make any sense. And we must speak up. We must speak up against it. So what can we do, madam, to stop that from happening? What we can do is that we should make it a topic of discussion and say, as a governor, why can't you mentor people? Why can't you be like Tambuwal in Sokoto? After spending some years as senator, House of Rep, as governor, he said he's not going back again. He wants to start mentoring, even though he has spent the better part of his life in government. But he's still good. He has the right to go back, but he said he's not going back. So we should start talking to our people that government is not something you should come and say you want to die in service. If we don't talk about it, it doesn't become a major issue and people don't take us seriously. So we have to put it at the front burner. Madam Olabisi Idiong said, technology, what government is doing and spending, Aramco, Bosun Tijani is doing very well. Exactly, madam. Thank you for your comments. The Minister of Interior is also doing very well. The Minister of Finance that we just got is also full of ideas. So people don't know all these things. They just generalize and just condemn the government and just bring down the government. And I said it earlier that I wish the government can remove a lot of its ministers and bring in young talks who have the energy, who have the vision, who have the capacity to deliver. If they tell me that what should President Tinubu do, his cabinet, he should sack a lot of his ministers and bring in people with ideas. So I agree that the people who are working in the ministry, in the government, are very few. Then I can't remember somebody who made the comment about security, that as the government passed on security. Of course, I'll be if I say the government has passed on security, I'll be telling a lie. The government hasn't passed on security, and I made that clear that security is the foundation of every other thing. But do I believe that because of the insecurity challenges we have, is that enough ground for me to say the government has failed and should not be re-elected into government? For my own personal view, knowing fully well that the security challenges we have was not by his own doing, he met it on ground, I will say no. I will say no, and I'll look for ways to support the government, to advise them to do better. But have they passed on security? Of course, when Pastor told me to mention the achievements of the government, I didn't mention security. It was deliberate. It wasn't a mistake. And that's because I know that that's a key area they need to pay more attention to. And if you see the moves they've been making with America, trying to change the Minister for Defense, trying to do all those things, I think they are trying, but they need to do more. The issue of spending is embarrassing. I can't even believe it that they did not even release money for training, for transport, for recruitment. I will dig into it to be sure that that information is genuine. If that is the case, then we'll write to them and tell them that, please, and I've written about this before on my social media page, that the government should behave like Napoleon, who will go to the battlefield and go and get information directly. Because if you rely on your ministers or rely on your generals, you might not get accurate information. So you need to find an alternative way of getting security reports from all these states without relying on the military, because the military has been compromised. They are used to their way of doing things in the past that did not achieve any results. And if the general has not performed in a place, sack this general. Don't be scared to sack a general, to sack a GOC, and put somebody else. By the time we keep on sacking every three months, everybody will sit up and will do what we need to do. So yes, the government has not done well on security. They need to focus more on that. But in my own opinion, I don't think that's enough for me to say I'm not going to vote for him, because I've not seen any better alternative. Thank you very much, Pastor Enobi.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you. You have taken your time to answer all the question. Pastor, are you still around? Maybe we can bring in Pastor.
Yeah,
and
I'm here. We thank
thank
God for
thank
everything.
you. Yes.
As always, Faruq has been very, very, very clear in his thoughts and his thinking, eloquent, well spoken, and very passionate. And I know that he's really, really interested in the well-being of Nigeria and the growth of Nigeria. And I do think he's somebody to watch for the future. So Faruq, my eyes are on you. I'm going to be looking out for you, and I want to assure you of my support and whatever I can do. Just continue to be who you are. Continue to strengthen yourself, and continue to be clear as to what is right and what is wrong, regardless of what party you are in. We need people in Nigeria who will actually speak the truth and be fair and make fair comments. And I think, honestly, you are one of them. And the Lord will help you and help all of us in Jesus' name. Let's continue to see how we can improve our political processes, our leadership processes. Let's continue to encourage our leaders to be truthful, to be fair, and to be fair to Nigeria. You know, one of the points you really highlighted was the inability of the opposition to be more Nigerian centric, and to be less selfish, and to come together and think really of the better good of Nigeria, and to see how they can actually put themselves together to make the better good of Nigeria. But what is even more important is that this present government has a great opportunity to run a great country. They have a great opportunity to run a great country. They have all the opportunity that is available to do the right things and to make the right kind of tones and the right kind of voices, and to just sacrifice to make Nigeria great. They have a great opportunity. Our president has a great opportunity to immortalize himself and to really build a great legacy. He has a great opportunity. All the dogs are lined up for him. I just pray that he will have the conviction and the courage to do so, and play less of the politics, play less of the politics. Nigerians don't want too much. If the government is good, and it seems good, and it acts good, and it sounds good, Nigerians are patient. They we support the government and make sure the government doesn't have to eat, and the conversation from the top is not comforting or encouraging or endearing where there's no hope. You know, I keep saying Winston Churchill won the war not because he did anything fantastic, just because he was able to inspire people with the words of his mouth. You said something about the convoys and the appearances of ostentation in government. It's not a good tone. So I think they can do fabulously well for Nigeria and even for Africa. So please, within your party circles and amongst your people, and as you discuss and have meetings, just tell them to do the right thing. Just tell them to try and fix Nigeria. Just tell them to try and tone down as best as they can corruption. Just tell them to try and behave and to do the right things and to spend the money for the people, for education, for infrastructure, and things like that, and to make life a bit better for people, and to make production in Nigeria, to make it easy to do business, to buy Nigeria, build Nigeria, and so on and so forth. And who cares who's in also approving and people are doing the right thing. Just name. Once again, Faruq, thank you so much. Let me thank everyone for being on the platform. Let me thank everyone for your comments and your questions. Let me thank everyone for being part of this process of Nigeria and making Nigeria great again. God bless you all. See you same time next week, and it will be a wonderful session in Jesus' name. Let me also invite you all on the platform to the inaugural of our matriarch circle. In ALG, we have some ladies who have held the fort, who have strengthened us, who have supported us, and I dare say who have prayed for us. Now they have now come up with a matriarch circle with a vision to nurture and lead and build the nation using the power of women and encouraging women to take their place in Nigeria, and encouraging women to be women of impact, and encouraging women not to be afraid and to challenge the status quo. And if the statistics is right, and we are 50% or 51% women, then why don't we think of even having a female president in the Federal Republic of Nigeria? So women, it's your turn, and Hilo Konsi. So you come and take over, and we are ready to yield the floor to you. So Professor Nika Grange, Dr. Fatima Akilu, Auntie Yemisi Ransom Kuti, Mrs. Marian Mugalu, Miss Choma Ubiokolo, and she's been doing a fantastic job trying to lead some of our women, and Yaradua. I'm sure she was a great Yaradua family. I didn't see her picture here. I know it's deliberate, driving this thing, and we hope the matriarch circle will do great and mighty things. God bless you all. God be with you, and God strengthen you. Sonny, please close for us.
Right, Pastor, thank you very much. We also want to thank you, Pastor, for being the visionary that has put all of this together. Faruq, thank you very much for taking time and answering us all the time. And we want to thank everyone that has been on the platform today. We meet here every Thursday, same time, same link, different topic. Our desire is to interrogate the system and come up with ideas that we can suggest to those in authority to move the nation forward. And I believe we've been able to do a bit of that today. Some of the things that have come out of here. That second video was very, very eye-opening, and we all need to take a look at that. So thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the day and the weekend until we meet again here on Thursday. Remain blessed. Thank you, Pastor Itwa. We will disconnect the YouTube now, and